to my PowerPoint. Time to start. It's all about the new trend that I am becoming a little bit frustrated by. The title of this is originally Frustration with Frutiger Aero, because I think there are things that people need to know about Frutiger before they get into the world of Frutiger Aero. Frutiger Aero sort of arose in the public consciousness just a few years ago. When I first heard about it, I thought, oh yes, people are finally showing appreciation for typography. People are finally showing appreciation for Frutiger. Maybe they'll show appreciation for like Helvetica or whatever. But no, this was coined in 2017 by an online community that has also coined terms like global village coffee house that are good and needed. And you know, it's good to have labels, but I think it's also important to remember that stuff is older than 2017. So Frutiger dates back to 1976. It was named after the guy who designed it, Adrian Frutiger, a Swiss guy. And Frutiger falls under a family of sans serifs called humanist sans serifs, which are sans serif fonts that are sort of modeled after the proportions of serif fonts. So they have very classical sort of proportions. And the reason that I think it's so egregious that more people don't know about Frutiger and instead leap to Frutiger Aero is that Frutiger is basically unavoidable in the world, especially in Europe, where it's all over, like this is a Portuguese road sign. So Frutiger has so many parts to it, there's so many flavors of Frutiger because the designer made it after the Univers system, a different typeface that also has just numbers. It's like very systematic. The Univers system is sort of like made to be a periodic table. It's supposed to be like every single like skew and every single width of the font has its own number to it. But then what about Aero? You know, the Aero part of Frutiger Aero. We need to acknowledge that that is like a very capitalist creation of Microsoft. That's Windows Aero in 2006, which comes 3 decades after Frutiger did. So I just think that Frutiger Aero is like this amalgam of like disparate parts that don't necessarily make sense put together, but I know people who don't know the history latch onto it. So Adrian has made pretty good stuff. I was saying like later we'll get to what the Univers system was. Univers was a previous font made by Adrian Frutiger. Avenir is one of them that's here. It's a lot more geometric and a lot more like focused on perfect circles and stuff. And it is installed on every iPhone. In fact, the original iPhone had Avenir on it, and then like the iPhone like 6 or whatever was when they installed like the whole font family. And all of these are humanist, neo-grotesque fonts. That is sort of Adrian Frutiger's specialty. So that is some context to the designer Frutiger. But then, what connects Frutiger to Aero? The only sort of connection I could possibly make is that Windows Vista, which is the operating system that has the Aero style, their UI font was called Sego UI, and that kind of was like my middle school obsession. That's why I feel like this attachment to the thing that people now call Frutiger Aero, also a humanist font, but not designed by our guy Adrian. And now, to finally get to our last slide, which is that I've been making Frutiger Aero stuff since 2010. Damn. And yeah, episode 2 of season 1 of VFDI has some things that are like sort of inspired by this style. That is the conclusion to my whole rant. Oh yeah, let the booze start coming in. Congratulations.